Welcome to Luvitex Engineering, where innovation sparks progress and manufacturing shapes tomorrow.
You know how it is. In the factory office, the spreadsheets say everything's running perfectly. The standard operating procedures are up to date, and the production schedule looks completely doable. But then you walk out onto the shop floor, right? And there's this massive, almost totally invisible gap between those pristine office plans and the actual gritty reality down there. We're talking missing materials, tools that have seen way better days, and SOPs that are, frankly, impossible to follow in real life.
So how do we actually bridge that massive gap? Well, we turn to the Japanese concept of Gemba. Translated, it literally means the real place. In manufacturing, it's the exact spot where value creation actually happens. But let's be honest, it's also where practically all the problems happen too. You just can't solve a floor problem sitting at a desk. You gotta get out there and actually see it. That's why the Gemba Walk is basically your ultimate bridge to connect leadership with the hard facts of what's really going on.
Welcome to today's Explainer, everyone. We're mastering the Gemba Walk, specifically from the perspective of a factory floor supervisor. Let's get out of the office, hit the floor, and figure out how to turn these everyday walks into some seriously powerful tools for continuous improvement.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for fixing this disconnect together. We'll walk through this chronologically. First, planning with intent. Second, the anti-audit mindset. Third, observing the floor. Fourth, asking the right questions. And finally, closing the loop.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Planning with Clear Intent, Escaping Industrial Tourism.
Now, your absolute first tool here is an up-to-date organizational chart. I know it sounds basic, but it helps you figure out exactly who oversees which department before you ever step foot outside your office. Having clear roles and responsibilities mapped out means you're actually doing your walks in the right work units, and more importantly, engaging with the right people right off the bat.
Next up, you need to literally bake this walk right into a standard, reoccurring daily schedule. Why? Because you really want to prevent it from feeling like some random, performative gotcha check to your staff. Seriously, consistency is everything here. It shows your team that leadership is genuinely invested in real-time problem solving, rather than just freaking out and reacting when a crisis hits.
Beyond just putting it on the calendar, you've got to set a super clear intent and theme for your visit. Your checklist should be laser-focused on spotting waste and finding solutions, not hunting down workers to punish. Think about it. Are you focusing on safety today? Quality control? Maybe machine downtime? Figure out that focus, and absolutely crucial here, communicate that intent to the floor workers. They need to know you're out there to help them, not grade them.
Which brings us right into Section 2, the anti-audit mindset, reframing the walk.
Look, a Gemba Walk is entirely about collaborative problem solving. No top-down compliance checks, no finger pointing. Think about a traditional audit for a second. It checks compliance against the standard, and it's completely obsessed with pass or fail, right? Well, a Gemba Walk is the exact opposite. It checks the standard against reality, and it focuses 100% on learning. If you see an operator not following the SOP, you don't instantly write them up. Instead, you get curious and investigate why. Toyota Chairman Fujio Cho actually summed up this whole mindset perfectly with 3 golden rules. Go see the actual place, ask why, and show profound respect to the frontline expert. It's a sequence. You go see the physical evidence with your own eyes, you ask why things are happening instead of just barking out answers, and you respect the fact that the operator absolutely knows more about that specific station than you do.
All right, Section 3, Observing the Shop Floor. What to look for.
You literally can't look at everything at once. It's impossible. So focus your eyes on 3 key areas to spot those early warning signs of neglected maintenance or a process bottleneck. First up, safety. Look around for blocked aisles or maybe missing PPE. Second is flow of value. You know, those massive piles of inventory that are practically screaming there's a downstream bottleneck. And third, equipment condition. Just listen to the factory. Squeaking conveyors or random puddles of oil? Yeah, those are early warnings that are absolutely going to cause downtime later if you ignore them.
And while you're observing, you have to respect the worker's focus. Please never just bowl into a work cell and interrupt someone doing standard work, unless you're actively trying to cause an accident. You always want to wait for one complete product cycle to finish before you start speaking. Disturbing a worker mid-task is exactly how defects happen in the first place.
So what happens if you do spot an operator totally deviating from the standard procedure? Just remember this. The root cause is rarely a person. More often, it's the process. They are more than likely just improvising their way around a broken tool or a really bad process setup. Shift your focus away from blaming the person and look at the system. When you do that, your Gemba Walk suddenly becomes an actual engine for innovation.
Moving on to Section 4, asking the right questions, guiding the conversation. Let's start with what you absolutely should not do. If you walk up and ask a surface-level accusatory question like, "Why are this line slow?" well, you're instantly going to trigger defensiveness. It completely shuts down any chance of learning. The operator is just going to feel like they're under attack, and I guarantee you'll get zero useful information.
Instead, pivot to something more inquisitive. Try, what is stopping you from hitting the target right now? See the difference there? It totally changes the dynamic. It signals that your actual job as a supervisor is to help clear the obstacles that are preventing them from doing their best work. You're basically partnering up with them against the problem, rather than making them feel like they are the problem.
To get that respectful dialogue going, try using some of these specific questions. Ask to see where the standard work documentation is, and find out how they actually learned to do the task. Pay really close attention when they talk about challenges impacting their quality output. But honestly, the most powerful question you can ask is, what didn't I ask about that I should have? Empowering the worker to point out systemic issues often shines a giant spotlight on things you might have just walked right past.
And that brings us to our final part, Section 5, closing the feedback loop, taking action.
Okay, the absolute quickest way to fail at this whole thing is letting your findings die in what we call the notebook graveyard. It completely destroys workforce trust because you're essentially teaching your staff that their feedback doesn't actually matter. Think about it. If a supervisor writes down 10 amazing observations, gets super busy, and then never bothers to fix the leak the operator pointed out, well, that operator is just going to stop sharing their insights altogether. Why would they bother?
To keep that from happening, you need to instantly digitize your observations and stick to a really clear escalation path. It turns your walk into actual tangible work. It goes like this. The team member raises the issue, the team leader escalates it formally if they can't fix it right there, the supervisor addresses it with plant-level resources, and finally, the plant manager takes on the big systemic changes. This makes progress visible to everyone, and that is exactly how you build real trust.
And hey, when you do stumble onto a truly brilliant solution out there, use the concept of Yoko 10. It's the practice of standardizing and sharing those best practices across the entire organization, so nobody has to constantly reinvent the wheel. If one cell figures out a much better way to calibrate a machine, take that insight and standardize it across the entire floor. Your Gemba Walk shouldn't just fix one isolated station. It really should elevate the whole factory. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought before you head out for your next shift. I want you to evaluate your intent, check your mindset, and really ask yourself, what kind of walk are you taking today? Are you practicing genuine continuous improvement, or are you just engaging in industrial tourism? Because the factory floor tells a story that your spreadsheets simply cannot.
Thank you for watching Luvitex Engineering. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep inspiring the future of manufacturing together.